Big fan of TVT, guys. Don't worry. Don't make sure to stick around. I won't say don't stick around, but yes, you should stick around.
If you're not a big fan of TVT, sucks for you. We've got a couple more of them coming.
No. Actually, that's not the case. We have 2 more amazing best of 5s coming up. It's going to be Dima versus Gonzi. Of course, Dimaga, MTW Dimaga against Slayer's Gonzi. And we're also going to have Sen versus Zinio. Sen, the Taiwanese who always performs well in the NASL. 2 seasons in a row, he got that bronze medal band. And I think he has the skill at least to get more. Also won the NASL Sunday Showdown this season against Fnatic Tot with a 4-1 score or 4-2.
Sen is a paradox. He's kind of like a Rhett. He comes over, he plays 1 game of Starcraft, and then he sleeps all day, and then he just gets up, plays his match, wins convincingly, and then goes back to bed.
Yes.
He's kind of like a bear.
That's
it makes sense. Gamma bear is Sen. Like he literally hibernates unless he's playing Starcraft, and then he's back to sleep.
That is super true, but yes. 2 more big best of 5s coming up, and at the end of the day, guys, we can finally tell you what a real playoff bracket looks like. We know a couple of things right now. We know for sure that Red is going to play against the Muslim.
Yes, we know for sure that because of that game, Beastie QT is going to play against Stefano.
We know for sure that TT1 is going to play against
Hero.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because who?
If Thorazine won.
No, Thorazine didn't win, so yes.
Oh.
No, he's playing against Puzzle.
Okay.
So it's going to be Root TT1 against Slayer's Puzzle.
You sure?
Yes, I'm
okay.
sure.
I'll take your word for it.
Because Strelok was the... no, wait, that's not right. Who was the lowest seed? Yeah, it was Thorazine, and he didn't advance, and then TT1 was seed number 15. So he's going to play against...
But Alicia beat Hero. Alicia is the...
Oh,
okay.
It's not Alicia, man. It's
I thought Hero was a higher seed, but he's not. No. Because he lost that game.
6 series, by the way, guys. If you love PvP, make sure to check out the tiebreaker games between Puzzle and Hero.
Yeah, really fun games.
There was not all that much on stake for either, guys. And we said, like, guys, just play best of 1 to see who gets seed number 1, seed number 2. They said, no, we want to play best of 3. We're like, well, okay. First game, they start off with a proxy, and we're like, well, why do they want to play best of 3 then? But it turned out into a really, really great series. So if you have some spare time, if you enjoy PvP, make sure to check out Puzzle vs. Hero. You can, of course, find those games on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/NAStarLeague, if I remember correctly.
Polt this time opening double gas 1 base, so he's going to be the guy doing crazy stuff, and aLive is doing single gas 1 base. So similar but not identical builds. I guess aLive's going to go command center after factory. And that is exactly what we're going to see. Yes, it is exactly what we're going to see. So maybe aLive going command center before starport and then going up to Banshees, or maybe even Hellion. I don't know. I have a question though. Yeah, there's the starport going down. We were talking about how Sin hibernates. So when a bear hibernates all winter, does it just sleep straight through the winter, or does it like wake up sometimes to stretch?
I have no idea. I think it just sleeps, man.
Does it like it really sleeps for like 180 days straight? And it doesn't wake up at all to like roll over, or?
I think maybe he wakes up and he has a calendar. He's like, 50 more days to go.
Does it wake up and eat a fish and then go back to sleep?
I have no idea, man.
I would be really curious about that. And like, if he's in such a deep sleep, could you like walk into his lair and like smack him on the butt and then run out and be safe?
Why would you do that? Let the bear sleep, man. Let the bear sleep in peace. Command center is more than halfway down for aLive. Polt is researching Cloak, man.
Our producer just confirmed that he does not wake up for 3 to 7 months. But don't slap him on the butt, because if disturbed, he can wake up and he will not be happy.
No, well, imagine if you wake up. Like, I get mad if someone wakes me up after 3 hours, because that's like when I'm in my deepest sleep, you know. Imagine if you wake up a bear who's asleep for 95 days. He's gonna be real mad.
Whoa! Slaps you, like just swats you across the cave.
Anyway, man, the first bench is making their way into aLive's base. aLive does have a Viking out already. Cloak is almost ready. aLive is going to follow it up with the Raven.
Yeah, great opening from aLive.
As soon as that Raven is out, aLive is going to be more than fine, but there should be a small window, Ben, like a window of around 20 seconds. Well, if he flies that far away, I don't think he can ever hit that window.
There will be no damage done by this Banshee Cav.
By the time it comes back right now, even if he activates Cloak, is he really going to fly back?
Oh, look at aLive. He's paying such close attention, keeping this Viking on track.
Nice
and
ninja move right there.
Continue to hunt this Banshee.
Second Banshee is on the way though, over here on the bottom side of the map. aLive once more not having, or well, actually that command is just ready. He's just upgrading it to an orbital, so it's no surprise that it's not ready yet. The Raven is out. How many Marines do we have?
Like 8, 9.
Should be more than enough.
Minimal damage going to be dealt by the Banshees, and Polt he's behind, man. He's gonna try to expand behind it.
Second Banshee makes his way into the base, picks up one SCV, and I guess this Banshee might be able to pick up a reactor. I mean, it's not 8 Marines or 8 SCVs, but it's something.
Oh.
Sloppy by Polt. Very sloppy by Polt. He has to be careful. He might actually end up losing this second Banshee as well, because it's so low, man. Any scan will kill it with the Viking patrolling on the north side of this Banshee. Raven coming in as well.
Kill as many SCVs as possible. It's going to be like 6 or 7, but
7,
Polt
I believe.
Gives away 2 Banshees for 7 SCVs and a reactor, which is probably not the best trade.
He has 1 more Banshee. 3 Banshees is quite a lot. It's not a small investment.
Yeah, I mean, if we look at his units tab, we can see that he's just got a handful of Marines out. 13 Marines and a siege tank.
Tom Cruise is going to say hello to this Banshee as well. Man, Tom Cruise, he's on the roll today. Like any other day in life.
What are some good Tom Cruise quotes? What's something funny that Tom Cruise has said?
I have no idea.
Scientology. There's something funny that Tom Cruise said.
Actually, I haven't seen that many movies, man. I'm not a big movie guy. This Banshee picks off a Marine and a Hellion in the middle of the map. Polt is 2 workers down. Units lost. Resource tab shows that aLive lost a little bit more, but he's also going to have a slightly better economy. This orbital was just a little bit quicker. Good thing for Polt is he's going to have Cloak throughout the entire game, and even though he might have not did the amount of damage that he would love to do right now, there's always a moment later in that game, man, when Cloak is going to be useful, and that Raven will eventually fall. So it's not all bad news for Polt. You could even say the opposite. It's quite okay.
Yeah.
Because he's already mining from 2 bases, right? Both these guys have been really careful about floating over orbitals or even building it in their natural. Have you noticed that? Like their natural expanse. I feel that the European Terrans in general are a lot more greedy. They always just build the orbitals in the main.
And it's funny how it kind of evens out in the end. Like Polt's early harass was virtually useless. He killed those SCVs, but I mean, it's hard to say that it was worth losing those 2 Banshees, but...
Nice moving shot over here by aLive. He's actually going to be able to...
Oh, there's no energy.
No, he already activated Cloak, and he had like Cloak for 2 seconds, and then it deactivated. So that was kind of a useless Banshee. That was a nice pick-up for aLive. Has to feel good.
That's so bizarre. How is Polt in such a good position now?
Because he was mining from this base a little bit quicker, and he's dropping a lot of mules as well, and I think aLive saved up a little bit of energy. Well, he's able to drop 2 mules over here. So that's gonna skyrocket his economy at least a little bit.
But Polt's the guy with the supply lead, man. He's got 88 supply to 83. He's got more army supply, more worker supply. Polt's just ahead, albeit not that much. Upgrades are also pretty even.
It's all gonna come down to positioning in fights like this when it's so extremely close. aLive doesn't have combat shield yet, and didn't even start it yet.
aLive's army's not as good, Kev. He's got Vikings that are gonna be pretty useless. I guess they can kill medevacs.
Man, the upgrades for Polt, that's what really is going to work for him. Combat Shield is going to be ready in 5 seconds. Stim Pack is 10 seconds ahead of aLive. And I really think if he fights with Stim and Combat Shield, he might be able to stim in and clean this army up from aLive.
It is just incredible to me that that Polt came out of all of this opening with a lead, man.
And also +1 is way ahead. How's that possible?
I don't know. Maybe aLive was just too safe.
Oh, poor Marine. Oh, he knows that he's on siege right now. He's going to try to do something about it. No, he's not.
Just dancing, man. Everybody's dancing.
The good thing for Polt, for aLive, is that he has air vision, so Polt's always going to be forced to use a couple of additional scans.
We're going to see a little bit of Raven harass over here in the back of the main of Polt. Maybe a little auto turret action. Auto turrets very, very annoying. They do good damage. They're hard to kill.
Certainly with Marines, they're very hard to kill.
And that's going to force these SCVs to evacuate. Might even kill a couple of supply depots. Look how fast the Marines die.
Really nice harass by Polt.
Man, these auto turrets are so good. They're killing so many Marines. Oh my gosh. More SCVs falling, and look at all the worker kills, man. 7 workers killed there.
That's what like 4 Banshees managed to do as well. It's a beautiful little harassment right there by aLive. Actually going to even things up a little bit. aLive is even 10 supply up right now. This forces Polt to move out. Polt still does have combat shield ban. aLive does not. Polt has +1. aLive does not have +1. But yes, Polt. aLive has the Viking numbers, and that's going to help out quite a bit.
Yeah, it makes it very difficult to attack. But Polt's going to be very smart about this. He's just going to elevate her over into the main base. He's going to get positioned with these siege tanks, and the Vikings are going to be just in time to scare away the medevacs
as well for aLive, and those 2 tanks are crucial. I don't think Polt wants to continue with this plan, which allows aLive to buy the time that he needs to get those crucial upgrades as well, +1 and combat shield. That's going to make his life a little bit easier.
But
we see an additional orbital is already ready for Polt, and for aLive there's no such thing.
Yeah, Polt just continuing to stay a little bit ahead in terms of bases and economy. aLive does throw down his own third command center, but it's going to be a while yet before that one is ready. And I think Polt's got enough map control that he could just float on out. Oh, tries to get some Vikings. I think kills one of them. But aLive well positioned on that high ground, manages to save the rest.
It's really surprising that Polt never decided to go into this little Viking war. All that aLive had is 3 or 4 Vikings, and in that way he can get back air superiority, but it seems like he doesn't even want to put the money into that.
He's not very concerned with it, Kev, but aLive somehow has really taken a big supply lead. It's 94 army supply to 106 actual supply. Worker tab shows us a 6 worker lead for aLive. And as soon as I get done making that point, Polt's supply skyrockets. I guess he just stopped macroing for a second.
aLive up 20 supply. That command center is almost ready. It's starting to look good for aLive, man. I'm starting to dig the position that he's in. He was behind in upgrades a little bit, and still the first armor upgrade for Polt is going to be a little bit quicker, but that's really about it. And I can't really see that they're going to fight before anything else is ready. Polt could start with +2. He has the money.
Polt's going to take a little bit of a skirmish here, but numbers and army composition means that he can't really continue to hold this spot. No, as soon as aLive unsieges, Polt comes in once again. Big stim going down from aLive, and Polt does get some pretty good tank positioning. The problem still are these Vikings are granting so much vision and so much control for the Fnatic Terran player.
Yeah, Polt really wants that Selnag Watchtower, but he's just not going to be able to get it. He has to keep his Metavacs out of range of those Vikings as well. aLive is moving out with a really big squad right now on the right side. This could lead up into something perfect. He might be able to deal a ton of damage, maybe even pick off this orbital. That would be so huge.
Wow, Polt has no idea.
Polt is completely unaware.
This could be an absolutely game-ending move. These Marines coming all the way around. They could catch these units out of position. Stim goes down, and aLive with a much better position and much better numbers. Will the tanks be able to turn the tide? Nope. I do not think so. And Metavacs with Stim Marines doing some heavy damage there to Polt. Finally, Polt comes back with some reinforcements, but aLive just expertly splits up these 2 groups of Marines, and he's going to go get some SCV kills before this army or this little hit squad gets cleaned up.
And Polt pulled a lot of Marines from this squad over here, and I was kind of waiting for the moment if aLive would try to crush that army when most of those Marines were out of position, but he's not going to do that. In the end, man, Polt didn't manage to do that all that badly. He is 9 workers behind right now, but he has triple orbital. aLive does not have it. The good thing for aLive is that he had pretty much...
Ooh, Viking is getting lost, but... or a Viking getting lost, but aLive is taking some good map position here. He's going to push all the way up towards the third base of Polt, who just dropped all of his mules here and has no choice but to evacuate this expansion. At the same time, Polt's being a little bit aggressive at the third base of aLive, forcing that command center to lift, and if it falls, oh, yes, it does go down. Great pick off there by Polt. Polt also losing his own command center, so both these guys relegated to 2 bases now.
Same thing happened on the other side. Polt is the one who's going to have quicker 2-2 ban, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's going to try to force the issue with 2-2 when he's ready. Both players have almost exact amount the same amount of workers, so that means the army supplies are going to be super close. This is a close game in every possible way.
Yeah, you're exactly right. It's just a positional war, the chess game that is TVT. aLive and Polt both remaking those command centers at the same time. Polt, bad control there, losing a handful of units, and that's going to swing things.
Because neither player is particularly rich in this phase of the game.
Especially after losing their thirds. Polt's got a little bit of money banked up. aLive, because he was on 1 base for so much longer, has actually mined out his main already. So Polt is mining a little bit more. But, wow, this is actually such a crazy game right now. These guys are both going to mine out.
aLive is going to give up this container. Polt knows about it. He's going to try to stim, maybe pick up a tank. No, it's not going to happen. aLive is going to siege up near the Selnag Watchtower.
But what's important is that Polt has taken enough of a position to retake his third base. And, I mean, that's what he needs, man. This game's kind of going to come down to who can secure a third and maintain a third.
Polt is losing a lot of units in these small, not even engagements.
aLive leaving his tanks completely exposed. No Vikings are there.
Selnag Watchtower is there.
That's true.
And Polt can't really bring in his Viking. He doesn't know what's coming. Polt's going to try to make a small run by with a little hit squad. But aLive is aware of it this time. He had control of this Selnag Watchtower. He knows that it's coming. Both players trying to be active around the map. This is as much of a chess game as you're gonna get.
Yeah, it's really cool, man. Even if you just watch the mini map to kind of see the movement. Polt's gonna stem and run in and do a little bit of damage to this command center, but there's literally zero chance of him killing it. Might be able to trade a couple of Marines. Oh,
maybe mules.
Two mules, three mules. Actually, that was pretty good. Mules are free, but they represent a lot of income.
Yeah, certainly right now, because neither player was mining a whole lot in the previous 2-3 minutes of this game. So picking off 3 mules for 6-7 Marines is most likely worth it. 3-3 is on the way as well for Polt, and aLive didn't even start it yet, and this could make a really big difference too.
Both these guys going to build planetaries at these new expansions.
Yeah, that surprises me a little bit.
They just know the importance, and they know that they have to hold it. aLive's the guy that's got the big the big supply lead, 177 supply to 160. Oh, look at all these siege tanks.
Picks up a second tank. Not bad for 7-8 Marines.
Not at all. After all, I mean, the tank numbers are what determine the final. What determine the strength of that final engagement, right? The tank is the backbone of these Terran armies. And aLive has the better tank count right now. He's going to stem and run in with a higher tank count, but oh man, Polt's got so many Marines.
Yeah, Polt has a ridiculous amount of Marines, 59, and after that little engagement, aLive still has 45 Marines. I'm not sure where they are. A couple of Marines are going to drop. Wow, beautiful drop right there by aLive, picking off that one siege tanks over here, which was...
And the planetary taking heavy damage. Polt is just in range, forcing aLive
Marines over here
to commit a lot of units to repairing it.
I think aLive is just going to siege in and try to break it with... stem in and try to break it with everything.
It would be a really difficult fight with tanks and Marines in position.
But Polt doesn't have everything over here, and aLive does have everything. He did manage to siege a couple of tanks in range, so he was able to pick off one tank. The other tank is still in range of the planetary, but one is at least a much smaller problem than two.
Yeah. Still just chipping away.
This is why I would never be a good TVD player, but I would not have the patience.
Yeah, it's such a waiting game at times. Both these guys at about 170 supply. aLive will be forced to pull off mining and repair here shortly. Polt right now sending it down another squad of Marines on the top half of the map, and aLive's going to respond to this with all these Marines out of position. If Polt sees these Marines moving, he might stem in and try to pick off the CC.
Well, there's more Marines for aLive though, so aLive is going to be able to take this fight, and he should be able to clear up this army despite those 3 siege tanks. Nice pickup by Polt. He managed to save at least 2 tanks, but that engagement definitely went in favor of aLive.
Oh, but Polt has to react to this, Kev. He should. Well, I guess there's so many tanks there. Like, it's kind of hard to react to that. So many siege tanks. How many tanks does aLive have? 16 tanks to 5.
Wow.
Which feels just astronomical. And this whole group of units up at the top half of the map could very well load up in medevacs and try to drop in the main or in the natural of Polt. And if that were to happen, that could be very, very difficult to clean up.
This is good. He's going to send a couple of Marines, and I guess he's going to try it, man. He's going to pick up everything.
Polt doesn't see it, man. There's no sensor tower, there's no turrets, and here we go.
He's going to see it right now, a big purple dot on his minimap, and well,
right of the medevacs as everything unloads. eBays are going to fall, armories are going to fall, depots are going to fall, tanks are going to fall. Polt's coming back with units as fast as he possibly can. Might have enough, and he's really taking minimal losses here.
I like what Polt is doing over here. He didn't really lose all that much. Lost 1 or 2 siege tanks, lost an engineering bay, but he has 3 upgrades, so I think he's quite fine with that. The armory, maybe he would have loved to get +2 on his tanks in the long run, but he picked up a lot of Marines and a lot of medevacs. I don't think that was the best engagement or the best drop for aLive. Then again, I can't blame him for trying something.
Yeah, I liked the maneuver there. I think if he'd done it a little bit sooner, it would have been more effective before Polt could kind of make more units.
Polt after that engagement is suddenly up 40 supply. aLive is getting 3-3 now as well, and he is the one starting his +2 max, so that's an upgrade that Polt is most likely not going to get after losing that armory. Other than that, these two guys are just still moving around the map, trying to get in the best position as possible.
Of course, they realize the importance of this game and this series. The winner of this best of 5 advances to the playoffs. Will be top 16. That guarantees money. It guarantees a chance. I mean, if you're in the top 16, you just have to win one more round for that ticket to Toronto, where you get to play on the main stage in front of the live audience for $30,000.
It's not just any audience, Ben. It's going to be a Canadian audience.
Yodelay-hee-hoo. They don't do that in Canada, do they?
I think they do that in Austria.
A good audience, eh? Yeah.
Small skirmish once more, but this Southern Cell Naga watchtower. aLive taking control of it. aLive still having that 18 siege tank, but Polt has 99 Marines, Ben. He has 90. Oh, he had
98.
No.
99 Marines, but actually. Oh, what are you doing, Polt? Big stem. He's just going to go for it. And actually, I think he's going to have enough, and he's going to rip through the siege tanks of aLive and immediately takes a big supply lead. The response from aLive is to head up to the top half of the map where he's going to try to put some pressure onto this 4th expansion of Polt. Polt is badly out of position. I don't think he has any chance of saving this base. He's just going to try and repair and kill off as many Marines as he possibly can. So many SCVs in a bad spot. Polt frantically trying to move up the map and get in position to respond to this, but great pickoff there by aLive. Means that he's now a base ahead.
Yeah, supplies are pretty much even, Ben, but Polt only has 27 SCVs. That's nothing in a 29-minute game. So Polt is really going to have to make something happen. He does have one more command center floating off. I'm surprised he never decided to use the orbital as main. Even the refineries are mined out, so he might as well just try to land it somewhere.
Well, he could send it back up to 12 o'clock.
Yeah, I would like to see him do that.
If he puts it together, that's a possibility.
I mean, I like this big attack, but he took a lot of damage on the other side. It's just, whenever something goes good for one player, the other player does the exact same thing, and we're kind of back in the same scenario.
Yeah, it's a real brawl, man. It's like a boxing match. Every time one guy gets hit, the other guy hits back. And
Polt is up 21 Marines right now, Ben. The rest of the counts, the rest of the number counts are pretty much even. Polt is a little bit ahead.
That is a sea of siege tanks, an ocean of metal.
I actually thought you were going to say a sea of Marines, because all those blue Marines together, they kind of make a sea.
Well, I was talking about aLive's army.
Like, you can actually jump on those Marines and they will throw you around, you know, like a party.
Mosh pit.
Yeah. A couple of Marines died to that planetary fortress over here. Both players are going to be maxed out in the near future, which means that Polt is the one who's going to have the bigger army.
Run, Polt!
So many Marines.
Tanks forced to disengage there, and that means that Polt will be able to take back a little bit of map control. And man, Kevin, this is like turn-based RTS. It's like, okay, you go here, I'll go there. You go here, I'll go there. And these guys are really just trying to get the proper position. Looks like Polt's going to gear up for a big fight up at the top of the map. Manages to get the tanks sieged up, and we'll get a couple really good volleys off on the army of aLive. And I think that's going to be a good engagement for Polt. aLive forced to back off at the same time. More action at the bottom half of the map where Polt wins. Well, did he win? Where he takes another fight, and the supplies are pretty even.
But he's still up to the army supply, and that's the biggest thing. aLive has slightly better upgrades. He has +2 on the tanks. Polt's actually going to rally his tanks into the tanks of aLive.
Oh no, that's a terrible loss. They're losing at least one siege tank. Scans and gets a couple shots off on the tanks of aLive.
Ooh, imagine if aLive had vision of this all along, then he could have taken out all tanks, but he still takes out 4 out of 5, so it's not all bad. But it could have been a little bit better.
Polt could drop on those tanks. Doesn't seem to realize it just yet. Both these guys just really trying to hold on to what expansions they have. This is some incredibly high-level TVT.
aLive is mining more than Polt, but Polt still is the player with the bigger army. And he has the freshest base.
And these guys are just spending their money so well. How often do you see Terran players with the huge mushrooms of gas that they just can't spend?
Yeah, certainly in
not the case.
Like this.
Yeah, not the case here, where there's just tanks everywhere, Marines everywhere, medevacs everywhere. And it's very interesting that there have been no Vikings. There has been no additional tech. Nothing like battle cruisers coming out.
Yeah, I'm surprised about that as well. But then again, it's been such an action-packed game where both players maybe have not fought all the time, but whenever they did fight, they also always lost a big clump of their army. So I guess they never really felt safe enough to take up to battle cruisers.
Oh man, really cool stuff here as Polt has now worked his way into range of this orbital at the middle of the map. aLive working his way around the backside. He's going to try to put some pressure on this planetary of Polt. There's not this many units here for Polt. He's got tanks, and aLive actually disengaging for that. Wow, big tank shots going off on this planetary, and a lot of SCVs are going to fall to it. SCVs that Polt really can't afford to replace. He's got only 23 right now.
Well, his maxed out army is just going to get bigger and bigger, Ben.
That is very true. Planetary taking heavy damage, but finally I think it's going to sort of stabilize. Single Viking comes out to kill the spotting medevacs, but still tanks are in range.
That TVT.
One more volley and the planetary falls, and it does go down. And again, Polt finds himself in a situation where he's a base down against his opponent.
Polt was putting quite some pressure on his orbital as well. That's why I just tried to take a look what's happening. But it's just not enough. Just 2 tanks shooting at his orbital from quite far away. aLive has a lot of tanks backing up this orbital. This is really the moment, Polt, when you want to use this orbital from your main, perhaps.
Oh, he took the one from his natural, which is not a whole lot different.
Which is a step.
And that will allow him to mine once again at the top half of the map. These guys have literally just drawn a line through the center of the map, just taking turns, controlling different bridges. And this is like a Brood War game, man. These guys are really battling for map control. It's not about single fights that end games. It's about controlling maps and controlling expansions.
Controlling space as well.
Yep.
More than anything. Polt has, I'd say, sort of the better positioning right now, even though aLive has fire on his Cell Naga White Star. He doesn't have control. Neither player really has it. Polt does have the top Cell Naga White Star. He could potentially still expand over here. I really think it's just a matter of time right now before either player is going to make the switch and at least try to get a battle cruiser or 2 out.
I just don't know how they can afford it, Kev. What I would really like to see is perhaps a little bit of dropping going on. Like Polt right now could safely drop in the main base of aLive, and I don't know that aLive could really respond to it.
99 Marines. He had 100 Marines. Small Marine battle going on over here. Fighting for honor and contact.
Man, that was like American Revolution there. They just line up and shoot.
Yeah. Polt is aLive is gonna do some of the drop. What you some of the dropping, Ben. What you said, he's gonna fly right into the guy in the missile turret. That guy had an easy day so far, but Ben, he's gonna have to get to work.
Fire the missiles! No!
Can't reach.
No! He's sleeping on the job, Kev. Somebody tell him to stop smoking. Tanks and Marines going to push up through the center of the map at the same time, and Polt's going to have a difficult time responding to this. And this means more medevacs are going to load up. There's going to be a big drop going over into the main base of Polt, who has taken the initiative. Missile turret guy just died. He was just obliterated. Single siege tank and a handful of Marines trying to do something about this heavy drop action that's happening here inside the main base of Polt. Supply is still pretty even. Both guys basically maxed out.
Polt is going to pull back these forces, or at least quite a few of them, from the right side of the map. So maybe that opens a window for aLive to do something. This orbital is going to lift out. This orbital will fall. Polt never really using this orbital after the main was mined out anymore. But
painful loss, and aLive's getting a really good trade here. Not only in the fact that he's killing,
he's getting richer
infrastructure, but look at all the depots he took out. And Polt's broke.
Polt is going to try to intercept all of these medevacs.
Could be huge. Oh, and now aLive is stranded in no man's land. This is the worst time.
Polt, do you have a Viking? Polt has a Viking. Where's the Viking, Ben?
Oh no, Polt's actually got an army, which is even more important. aLive has an army which chases the Marines of Polt away.
And he's just going to drop in the main base once more. That's remarkable. aLive suddenly has 2,500 banked up. He's going to build 2 more command centers, and 1 orbital is on the way, so he's going to get a real ridiculous army.
Missile turret guy, man. He really dropped the ball on this one. Look at Polt, all bottlenecked up, attacking into a much better spread of Marines.
Wow, Polt lost so many Marines over there. So unnecessary.
Getting such a great trade here, and Polt supply plummeting aLive up at 190 still. Polt still hasn't managed to rebuild his supply depots, Kev, and this game is slipping away from him with every misstep.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I don't really see what Polt can do. aLive is just perfect positioned all around the map. aLive is doing the right things. I do feel that Polt could have done the same. Polt was the player with the superior Marine numbers, and he just didn't do anything with it. Never tried to find in the window, never tried to open anywhere. Now we see both players dancing around a little bit with pretty seasonable armies.
Yeah, indeed we do. Marines in the middle of the map going to stim and try to force an engagement on these siege tanks. Polt retreating from his engagement in the middle of the map because of all the tanks of aLive. He's going to try to sandwich this tank force. If aLive loses these tanks, maybe there's a chance that Polt can stick around.
That went so much better for Polt than it went for aLive. aLive was quite far ahead before this fight. Now suddenly we're completely even again, pretty much, in army supply. Polt even slightly ahead. Polt is mining from 2 bases, but he doesn't have a lot of orbitals anymore, does he?
You're exactly right. He's just got the 1.
Yeah, 1. He has 1 orbital.
Single orbital, 2 planet, or he's got a command center over here in the top right. Might be worth it to turn that one into an orbital. 107 supply to 150. That's the real problem. aLive has had all this money banked up, and he's able to turn that into army. Whereas Polt's been so poor.
Trades. I mean, the last trade was not good for him. He lost a lot of siege tanks. The Marines were not perfect positioned, but at the end of the day, he did kill a lot of Marines from Polt. Polt just doesn't have the money to replace him, and aLive can do this all over again because he has the entire bottom side of the map.
And he is going to make a big push here through this center bridge. Probably won't be able to advance into the tanks of Polt, but again, makes a good trade. 130 supply for aLive, only 85 for Polt, who's falling further and further behind, but who is mining. He's going to build a planetary up here in the top right, so there is, there is a future for Polt, although we don't know how much of one.
I really don't think that's the right call. If he wants to make any comeback, he has to get orbitals. He lost pretty much all of his orbitals, and he's so low on SCVs. Normally, would you ever try to continue building planetary fortresses when you're on 23 SCVs?
No.
He's just not going to be able to ever get a seasonable army out once more.
Yeah, I agree with you. Beyond that, he's also losing valuable infrastructure. Again, he just can't afford to replace this stuff.
Might be able to pick up that medevac. No, he's not. He's going to be able to pick up a few Marines, maybe one medevac.
Yeah. Wow, man.
Wow, that medevac really took like a bullet for his body, man. He's like, yeah, take me.
Yeah, this medevac's an MVP, man. Did a barrel roll, deflected half the bullets.
Yeah. Never knew medevacs could do such tricks. Never knew Tom Cruise liked to drive a medevac. Never knew Tom Cruise could be so feminine. He's saucy, just gave me a wink. He's like, yeah, bro, I did that.
Oh, man. aLive still mining in the middle of the map, mining across the bottom half of the map. These guys are really playing, again, very scrappy. But, oh, Marine's going to try and take out this planetary. That's a
bold move.
That is a bold move, and one that's doomed to fail, as aLive responding with a lot of Marines. This could very well be the final engagement of the game. GG comes out from Polt. aLive takes it, goes ahead 2-1 in the series, and puts Polt on the brink of elimination.
It's funny how aLive often seemed sort of effortless in the regular season, like he didn't care that much. Obviously he tried to win, but I didn't really feel like he prepared for his games, like he put a lot of effort into it. Now it's wildcards, now it's playoffs, and now we see 45-minute macro games out of aLive and super tactical positional game. Well, if you enjoy TVT, these kind of games are awesome. If you're not a big fan, then you're perhaps kind of wondering. It's just one of those things, you have to appreciate the beauty in it. I enjoyed it from time to time. I think there was some excellent high-level play in TVT, so I look forward to Game 4, man.
Love casting chess matches, Kev. Game number 4 coming up is going to be on Daybreak. Stick around. More StarCraft II when we get back.